Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of the Way Above Par sessions brought to you by 3BELOW, where we will be bringing you conversations with golfers, some recreational, some professional, but all with the commonality of having carved a niche for themselves off the golf course, either through passion projects or through their various businesses. Our guest today is Murali Kartik. As we know, he's one of the finest left arm orthodox spinners India has ever produced. And he's brought us as a cricketing nation many a moment to rejoice. What I find cool about Kartik is that post-retirement, he didn't just fade away into the sunset. He has become very involved with cricket commentary and also a bunch of other ventures that he's involved with. But most importantly, he has become addicted to the game of golf. Let's have a chat with him and hear about his journey straight from the horse's mouth. Kartik, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure having you with us today. You're looking well, but as someone that I know is so in love with the outdoors, how are you handling being locked up in these very trying times?
JJ, thanks for having me. I would say love with the outdoors because of the amount of stuff you do, and you're constantly traveling and working with all the games happening everywhere, and also golf. I think that is one thing which has been a huge part of my life post my playing days. Even it was part of my life during my playing days, but more so post my playing days. So a bit of it, yes, you can understand. You want to be out there because for me, golf course is just 3 minutes away from home, door to door. But such is the time, or such are these times, unprecedented, so to say. And the most important thing I feel is that more than me, I'm just grateful that I have a house to live in. I don't have anything to complain about. And I'm not somebody who likes going out too much. People say that, oh, you constantly are traveling, you must be feeling trapped at home. And I'm actually feeling liberated, because when you look at it, look, this is the house you created, you made for your own self. If I can't be happy in my own house, and if I want to run out somewhere, I think there's something wrong with me. And secondly, intrinsically, I'm not somebody who likes going out too much. I like being with friends and stuff, that's fine. But I'm actually getting used to it. I feel I might get really used to it, that if somebody says you have to go out, I might say, I don't want to go out.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so sorry.
Now I was going to say, a lot of people are complaining about being stuck at home, but you're of the other perspective, that if you can't make home your happy place, then something's intrinsically wrong with you. You know?
Yeah, just look around you. It's your own house.
Yeah,
it's my own house. This is something which you've built. Half the time, as you said, if I'm traveling, I'm not enjoying anything at home. What am I running for? And now it's given me a time to sit, be at home. Yes, certain people are a lot more privileged. Yes, you're going to be living off your savings for a while. And that's why sometimes they say, save for a rainy day, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your heart, I do feel bad. Your heart does go out to people who are not in such a privileged position. So people who are comfortable in their own homes, are eating well, they don't have any problems. I think there's not even an iota of complaint should come from any of those people. I can understand people run on the roads, not getting a meal, literally struggling for food and shelter. You can understand that. What have I got to do? I'm just sitting in the confines and the comforts of my home. No complaints, never.
Great. Nice to see a positive outlook on the situation we're in for a change. Anyway, let's get straight into getting to know Murali Kartik a little bit better. I want to start with the beginning. You know, literally every kid in India grows up playing cricket, but we're a country of over 1 billion people, and it's a tiny, minuscule percentage that make it to the level that you did. Tell us a little bit about the beginnings and how you were able to break those glass ceilings and eventually find yourself at the very top playing for India on the international stage.
JJ, I think when you reflect on it, it seems that you've done something which everybody wants to. As you rightly said, the enormity of the situation is that I was the 226th Test player and 144th ODI player for India. That's what my number says over a period of whatever number of years. And when you look at a population of over 1.3 billion, I think it's like a speck. So you feel happy about it because from early childhood, I was always told that try and be the best at what you can be, whether it is whatever you choose to do. It has got nothing. My mom always used to tell me this, that you can choose anything. There is nothing degrading about any work you do. For whatever you choose to do, try and be the best you can be. But having said that, I never wanted to be a cricketer. And I think that is something which people are always amazed about. I never thought that I would play for India. I never thought that I would play cricket. I actually come from a family of people who are always behind books. My father is a PhD in biophysics. My mom was an MSc mathematics. My maternal grandfather was an absolute whiz kid. My mama, again, of MSc physics. My Mossy or aunt was again a chemistry. This thing. So everybody was only into studies, and so was I. So for a very long time, it so happened that from the time I started going to school, I was always standing first in class. So for me, my mom couldn't take or accept the fact for a long time that I wanted to play cricket, and that so happened by chance because I never wanted to be a cricketer. I wanted to be a genetic engineer. Coming from a family of people who only loved studies and were like that is exactly what I was. Not that I had to literally cram books, so I was not that kind of a person either. And so cricket happened by chance for me. While I was in school, when I was 11 years old, the school captain said, "Would you like to come and play for the school team?" And that's how it started.
Wow.
We have seen you playing during games, so can you be part of the school team? And that's how there were no trials or whatever. He just got inducted into the school team. And then the same year, my father sent me to a coaching camp, which was the first formal cricket coaching camp which I ever attended. And then during the fag end, when the trials and all start, which is around September, October, under 12 trials for Tamil Nadu, was in the standbys, didn't make it to the team, was in the standbys. But the next year I played for Tamil Nadu. So at the age of 12, I started playing for Tamil Nadu. So I never thought that I would be playing cricket. It was all about gully cricket, which you generally do with your friends, with your own family. Thankfully, we had a decent sized house, so playing with your father, simple rubber ball cricket as a young kid. What can you expect? So that's how it started. So little did I ever think that one day I would go and play. And even if you look at it, I ended up being a left arm spinner, but I was not a left arm spinner. I was somebody who bowled nonsensical fast bowling or slow bowling, batted when I was playing for Tamil Nadu. So everything has just happened, whatever you call it, destiny, karma, whatever you call it, good fortune. So that's how it was. If I have to cut the long story short, never ever thought or never ever dreamt that I would be playing for India. Yeah, the different thing that once I got seriously into it, then I was quite diligent about what I wanted to do. Had to turn into a left arm spinner because I was not strong enough, tall enough to be a fast bowler. So left arm spin happened when I came to Delhi, which was around 15, 16. I worked really hard, and thankfully I had two brilliant people to work with, which was Bishan Bedi and Maninder Singh. So all that happened much later on. But when I started off cricket, no chance that I ever thought that I'll even play state cricket, let alone for India.
That's very interesting. So it was more coincidental than sort of goal driven. It just happened upon you. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So look, I never set out to be a cricketer.
Yeah.
Cricket happened, and then I was single-minded in it. But did I think about it? Did I dream about playing cricket? No. Did I dream about playing for the country? No chance. I was thinking that I have to do genetic engineering. I wanted to do something like that. I was reading books ahead of my time in those days. So that's exactly what I did. I never thought that I'll be wearing the India cap or India colors one day.
As for me, I'm a fan of the goosebump moments in sport. And I remember watching your spell of 6 for 27 against Australia in front of a fully packed Wankhede Stadium. You were driving the crowds absolutely crazy with every wicket you took, and And towards the end of it, by the time you took your sixth wicket, I think you were also like tired of celebrating. It was like almost had become second nature that you were making these Aussie batsmen drop like dominoes. And when you play sport, though highs like that are the moments that every sportsman lives for. Tell us a little bit about what you experienced during that spell of yours.
Look, I looked at it in a very different way. I think obviously success is always defined, JJ, by some numbers and what actually people see at the end of the day. For me, those 9 years, 99 to 2008, the first time I was actually picked for India, it was itself a great moment. I think that was a goosebump moment for me because here I am coming from a family of no sports people. And then nobody thought that I would be playing cricket. I myself didn't think I'd be playing cricket. And then suddenly you're walking back at the end of day's play, and that too iconic Brabant Stadium playing against South Africa in a warm-up game or a side game as they generally call them. And then suddenly people stop you, news people stop you, photographers stop you, and you get clicked away. And then you're wondering what's happening here. Yes, I did bowl well against South Africa on that day, but I hadn't taken a fifer that people were clicking my photographs. So suddenly you're told that, look, you've been picked for India. In 10 days' time, you're going to be playing for India. So that's an absolute surreal moment because once you start playing first-class cricket, or once you set your goals on playing cricket, you look at different ladders to climb. When you're younger, as I said, under 12, you play state cricket, then you want to represent the South Zone and then get picked into the camp, All India camp. Those are small goals you have. And then you make the next grade under 15, same zone, want to play, make it to the All India under 15 camp, which is what it was at that point of time. And then once you get into the under 19, you want to make sure that you're doing well in under 19, get picked for India under 19, and also try and make a first-class team. Because many people, if you're good enough, get picked into the first-class team, and also depending on the vacancies available. So once that happens, you're constantly creating one level, getting to the next level, trying to be the best you can be. And for me, having played first-class cricket and then taking a hat-trick on debut, and then getting picked for India A, traveling to West Indies, you're always hopeful. You're just hopeful that you're inching closer. And people do take notice of what you've done. People do take notice of what you can do. And I think it's a small box ticked every time. If you look back and think like that, then you feel, oh my God, did you actually climb a Mount Everest this way? And can you do it again? I think that is the question which I always ask myself. Having played the game for 26 years, and then now the last 6 years I've been retirement and talking about it. Suddenly you stand in a stadium and you're wondering, did I ever come onto the stadium? Did I ever bowl here? Did I ever look at the crowd and go, wow, and this, that, and the other? So those are all goosebump moments when you reflect back. So for me, I never could imagine that you're inching way closer and suddenly you get picked for India. So what I was trying to say was that, yes, your spells always are remembered. Your man of the matches are always remembered. When you bowl well are always remembered. But for me, just to wear, I always feel that you need to have a lot of pride in what you wear, what you represent. And I think once that happens, even if it's a failure as per someone else's standards, it's still a moment of success for you because having walked out in India colors, having walked out in India jersey with that cap, and I'm very possessive about it. I don't like people wearing India caps because I've slogged my ass off to wear that cap. So when they sell it in the Nike store and other places, I feel very bad that they're selling it, something which you had to work hard for. So yeah, so it's like the blazer which we get. I've got all my blazers here. It can be like a bit of a Bhag Milka thing, Bhag Milka Bhag moment where we look at that. That's what you play for. There's a great pride. And as my mom used to say, even if you are a sweeper, no, not to denigrate anybody or to bring somebody down. Even if you have to get picked for the All India sweepers, this thing, that should be a goal just to represent your country somewhere. Is just a surreal feeling. So all my years are all goosebump moments for me.
That's beautiful. So your goosebump moments have been an interesting takeaway from that was like almost post your career, looking at what you did almost like you watched a movie of your playing career, and like looking back is what gives you your goosebumps of how you got to where you got to, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason why I also say that, JJ, is that see, sometimes you don't know why you got picked. I'll always say this. Not necessarily that I was meritorious enough or good enough to have played for India. There could have been a million others who would have been better than me, possibly not destined, not in their fate, not in their karma, to have played for India. So similarly, you always hear these stories that, oh, Kartik should have played more for India, should have done more for India, and all that. But if you take gratitude into account, I feel that just having represented the country for 9 years was itself a big thing. That could I possibly played in place of many others who should have possibly played ahead of me. So once that happens, then you don't have a feeling of any disgruntlement or disappointment. You just feel happy with whatever God gave you, whatever happened to you. And I think once that happens, then there is no disgruntlement or uh, anything which sets in. That's my take from it.
It's a great perspective to have gratitude for the path that was almost predestined for you, and you rode that wave when your time was right, and life happened for you. That's
Yeah,
nice.
exactly. Yeah, look, Jerry, one can always paint a sorry picture for yourself or a great picture about
Yeah.
yourself. Either you live in a victim mentality in life, or you get out of it and say, wow, this is what was given to me, this is what happened to me, and how joyful or how brilliant was it. How many people didn't get it, didn't get what I wanted to, and God gave it to me, or
Mhm.
whoever gave it to me. If people don't believe in God, I do.
Yeah.
So once that happens, you don't feel disheartened about it. Yeah, you might feel disappointed about a few things, because once you set out to do well as you can. But it's not going to happen. We all know as sports people that statistically you see more days of failure than success, whether it's the greatest of Sachin Tendulkar or Tiger Woods or Jordan or whoever you call them. They've seen more days of failure than success, statistically speaking. But still they're called great, and still they are champions of the game, and they're some phantoms of the game. So when once you look at things with that perspective of having gotten what others didn't get, or what others would give their left arm and left leg to have, I think you feel very happy about it, or satisfied and content about it.
Moving away from your cricket for a second, Karthik, your necklace. I know it's piqued a lot of curiosity over your career. Is it something that's talismanic, or is it a fashion accessory that's just stuck with you? What is it?
I think it's just become symbolic of me now,
Okay.
but it's not a fashion accessory. What happened was that 2003, we were in Bangalore for the first test match against Australia, and it also happened to coincide with my first wedding anniversary. So me and my wife, we went to the ISKCON temple, and that's where they gave it to me. It's a tulsi and sandalwood beads, which the Hare Rama Hare Krishna
Mhm.
followers wear. So what you'll notice is when they wear it, their necks aren't that big, so it tends to float around like a mala. But
Lower.
for me, my neck is thick. Yeah, so my neck is thick, so it just manages to. So when my wife wore it, it was down below there. But for me, the neck is so thick that it hugs my neck. So that's about it. Nothing talismanic, nothing fashionable about it.
Good to know, because I know a lot of people, I'm sure, have wondered what the story behind it is.
Yeah, yeah, they've always. Many people thought it was a tattoo.
Yeah,
Till the
because
time you
it's
don't see
always
it up close and personal.
there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, moving on to your golf, Karthik, I understood that, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, you were already playing golf while you were still playing competitive cricket. Is that right?
Yes, but not too much of it. That also happened because of county cricket. So what happens in county cricket? It's something brilliant. All the English county players, they play golf.
Mhm.
They also play golf because a beautiful thing happens in England. Say if you're playing for Somerset or say Surrey or whoever, if you're a county player, you have access to all the golf courses in that county, free access. Can you imagine? So you can play on some wonderful golf courses because you are a county player, and all you have to do is take your staff card or your uh,
Yeah.
player's card to a golf course, and your green fee is waived off. Obviously, they don't have caddies. You have to have your own cart and all that, like it happens in Europe. But that's what happened. And for me, there were so many of my fellow players on off days and stuff like that. They would play golf.
Yeah.
And for me, I had no idea. Yes, I did play golf much earlier, and that was courtesy a fellow left arm spinner who gave me his clubs left-handed and took me to the City Fort driving range and said, "This is how you hit." And after that, nothing, because you're constantly playing, you're constantly traveling, you're not thinking of carrying another extra kit or even time to go and practice because it's such a tough sport. Look, I've played cricket all my life, and I am what I am because of cricket. But having said that, golf is bloody tough, man, because you look at it, not one hole is similar in the world, not one lie is similar in the world. You're playing through 14 different clubs, 14 different angles. The wind is different. And in cricket, less is not more. In golf, less is more. Cricket, I can try and play a flick through mid wicket, get a leading edge, and it can fly over cover and it'll be four. I can play Brett Lee, edge him, still go for four. But I can play the perfect shot in golf. It pitches, gets a wrong kick, and I'm doomed because you can miss one shot and you can miss everything. So golf was such a tough game. And when these guys used to go and play, yes, I did on the odd occasion, but I had no clubs. So it was the fag end of 2009-10. That's when, having been with Adidas, and I got some tailor-made clubs off the rack. If you're a hacker, if you're a 30 handicapper, you don't need clubs which you just want to hack around. So that's how it started. So, and then a gradual interest grew. By the time I finished, which was possibly 2013, 2014, I got a lot more interest. And then I'm also blessed because you end up meeting all these pro golfers from India. You name them, you have them. And then once you play with them, actually, as the word you used, it piques your interest as to how these guys do certain things. And then possibly it so happened for me that I didn't plan it that way, that by the time my cricket finished, I had another passion to look up to. And for me, from then onwards, playing with Ashok Kumar or Rashid or Shiv Kapoor, Shubhankar, and all these guys who come to DLF, Anirban, you name them, you have all of them. Himmat Rai, you have all these top golfers of India here. So then you want to get better. For me, initially when I picked it up, possibly because of the clubs I used and being a natural cricket or being a cricketer and a natural hand-eye coordination which cricketers have, you end up hitting long. So people say, "So bada lamba marta hai. It's long, it's long." So that is a bit of a what should I say, ego, like a chest, a swollen chest moment. But then after that, you realize that it's not about hitting long; it's about so many other things in golf. So, 2013, 2014, as my cricket was coming to an end, that passion to become a scratch golfer, I think that is something which drives me now. And look, I can just stand there, and when you stand there and envisage a shot, visualize a shot, and it happens that way, I don't think there is a better moment for me.
You mentioned, I was going to ask you about if you felt that the hand-eye coordination from having played cricket before helped in your picking up golf. But I have another interesting question. The greatest struggle golfers face is the fact that the ball is just sitting there waiting to be hit. It gives your mind all the time in the world to think. Most often, unfortunately for us golfers, those end up being negative thoughts, and it never helps with the outcome of the shot. Cricket, on the other hand, is reactive. You see the ball coming at you, you have to make your shot. But the greatest golfers in the world have found it in them to make that moment between setting up and going through with their swing, making that moment one of absolute silence. Do you feel you've been able to make golf somewhat of a reactive sport where you set up, your mind's blank because you've planned everything before you've set up the ball, and you have that moment of silence and then you go through with impact?
I think you've realized that what you're talking about when you're playing, even you can be whatever golfer, and there are days when you play some great golf. And that's when you realize that your thought processes were very crystal clear.
Yeah.
and very limited,
Yeah.
rather than having 20 thoughts standing on the ball and then not being able to do any one of them. It happens in cricket as well. So if I'm with my ball and I have to bowl to a Gale or an Inzamam or a Sachin, and I've got 20 thoughts about them hitting me all over the park, I'm never going to release the ball. You need to narrow it down and crystallize it to one or two, and then you react. You, as a batsman as well, so you, when you're facing, you're not thinking, oh, bouncer, Yorker, overpitch, in swinger, out swinger. No, you know you're prepared for all this, and then you want to react to it. So I feel the days when you're playing real good golf, I'm talking about myself, is when your thoughts are crystal clear and there are not too many thoughts.
Mhm.
You know that your game is in good swing, you're playing well, and that confidence also rolls over. And this is also one thing which I've seen. I can always think of momentum in cricket. You know that you're bowling well, your second spell is also going to be like that. You're batting well, you're catching well. But in golf, I realized I've played as an amateur. I played golf. I played gun golf one day, literally even at DLF. And then the next day, I bring the same confidence when I'm playing with a different group. And I'm like, what happened? Yesterday, I was swinging so well and I was hitting the ball perfectly. The ball was doing what I wanted to do. And today, it's exactly the opposite. So I've never been able to bring that momentum to the next day. So then I understood that that's why it's over 4 days. That's why guys who can literally come back from behind or can literally or squander away a great start, and that is why golf is such a tough game. So as a pro, you can stand at one spot, hit 6 balls, and all 6 will be different. Whereas as a bowler, I know that 4 out of 6 can be the same. As a batsman, if you bowl the same area, I can still hit the same shot through covers or straight drive. But you stand, you put the ball at the same spot, the same club, and you can have 6 different shots, all 6. So that's what makes golf very unique. And I think I completely agree with Sadhguru when he says that it's us who is giving it the geometry. So if the geometry of the head isn't right, then the geometry of the ball isn't going to be right.
Yeah. No, it's not that all 6 shots can be different. All 6 most definitely will be different. If you can hit 2 identical golf shots, you're not human. All 6 will be.
Exactly.
And Kartik, going on to what's currently keeping you busy. I know you're very involved with PETA, your commentary. After having played so much competitive cricket, it's still fun for you to be sitting up there in the box and watching this next generation. Hey, you hat. Nice one. Now I was saying, watching the
I
next.
think I should be part of your design team, JJ.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you.
But you'll have to listen to me then.
Done. No, I was
Sorry.
saying,
Go on.
is it still fun for you being up there in the box and watching this next generation of players doing what you did so successfully so many years ago?
JJ, absolutely grateful. Again, if you come to think of it, no, just think of it. I finished the game. For God's grace, I had something waiting for me. How many people can say, oh, we finished the game and we had something there? Because for all of us, for many of us, let me rephrase it, sports people, you need to start sport very early, isn't it? For all of us, we need to start sport early because that's where your youth is, that's where your vigor is, that's where your energy is, and that's where sport can be maximized. So from a very young age, you play sport. Us, many of us, and I'm not including many of us, I'm just putting myself in that bracket or in that big group. But many of us haven't finished graduation. Many of us haven't done that. So there are different aspects of it because all you have done is play sport. That's been your only profession.
Yeah.
Depending on your luck, depending on your skill, proficiency, innumerable factors to be taken into account. You can play till 26, 27, 28. If you're lucky, 32, 33. If you're super lucky, 38. After that, suddenly it dawns on you, what should I do now? My days under the sun are done. And people always say sports people earn a lot or cricketers earn a lot or whatever. But the counter question which I always ask them is, look, I was lucky that I played till 38. But then guys in the corporate structure are all going up after 38. Their earning capacity is skyrocketing after that. Professionals like doctors and lawyers, the grayer they grow, the more they earn. But for us, even a slight speck of gray, and they say you're old, you can't play any longer.
Yeah.
So you look at it. So what do cricketers do? What do sports people do? Many of them become coaches. Is it the same as playing? No. You can become an administrator unless and until you have wrong acts and wrong deeds and do wrong things. Can you make that kind of money? No. As broadcasters, is it the same as playing? No. So somewhere down the line, I feel lucky that for me, once I've finished, it was there waiting for me or whatever. And then also from the very first day, I only did international cricket. I didn't have to again go through the rung that like you play club, you play district, zonal, and then play for your country. Then it was not as if I had to go and commentate on local games. So God was kind enough to take me to that stage. How can it not be when you're working with some of the greats of the game, when you're rubbing and talking about the game, uh, analyzing the game with a Michael Holding, with a Hayden, with a Sunil Gavaskar, with a couple there. I think that's the best place. So again, no complaints at all. It's just a great place to be. And talking about the game you love so much, again, doing international cricket, just beautiful, blissful.
You know, talking to you, just listening to you, it's very apparent that you're very much in touch with your spiritual journey. Um, your
That's been from a very young age. That's
Yeah,
been from a very young age.
I wanted to ask what some of the things are that you practice or do to help your growth as a individual and as a human being.
Look, it's again, I'm a work in progress. I'm still a work in progress. But for me, from a very young age, I've always been of a spiritual bent. Always been told that you need to respect each and everything which you have. So I think the most important thing in life is once you start respecting everything you have, you are in a different phase. I'll give you a very simple example. You've given me this cap and this shirt, and it's been 2 or 3 years.
Long time.
You will not, yeah, you will notice that it still looks brand spanking
It's
new.
brand new. Yeah.
So yeah, all my glasses, I clean them. They're all free of cost. I just don't throw them. So I've always been of this feeling that you need to respect each and everything. Keep your things neat and tidy. Keep everything organized. Be nice. Be See, all the most important thing which one can do is try and be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Try and do the right thing. Try and always do the right thing. For me, always it's been a general practice from young age, or from when I was young, is that every time I went to bed in the night, when I hit my pillow, I'm always reflecting on the day gone by. Did I harm anybody intentionally, unintentionally? Did I say something? What are the things which I can learn from today? So small things have always been part of me. And now as I'm growing, yes, there are times when you say the odd thing which shouldn't have been said, you react at the wrong time. You're constantly looking inwards. And I think for me also doing my Kriya for the last 3 years has helped me immensely. I think it's made me understand and made me react in a different way to situations. And as I said, if you start respecting each and everything, it's very tough. Bhagavad Gita says that the first quality required in a human being is love everyone, which is a tough one to do because all of us have certain people or certain things which you don't get along with. But just to see everyone as God is a tough one. I'm not there yet, but the most or the smallest thing which I can do is I can respect each and everything, be it animate or inanimate. And I think once I've started doing that, or once you do that, I think it keeps you a lot more grounded. And again, sport has taught me a lot. Sport has taught me a lot because you don't have successful days or numbers and stats wise successful days every day. So you see people reacting in a different way. You see your own ebbs and flows of emotions going through and how you handle them mentally and in an emotional way, where that takes you. I think your own life is your greatest teacher. Mm-hmm. Hindsight can be a great teacher. And once you start accepting it and following it, I think it's a great place to be. And also, I've always been of the belief that everybody's conscience tells you the right thing, always. Yeah. So if I set out to do something wrong, my conscience is always going to prick me and say, you're doing the wrong thing. It's we who justify certain things and say, no, it's fine, let me do it. and you end up doing it. That's the monkey on the other side saying, do it. And then you end up doing it and you either regret it or you shouldn't have done it. So once you listen to your conscience, I think it keeps you a lot more in a better place in life, and you invariably end up doing the right thing.
Yeah. I look at it like that. For me, golf, I mean, God is my conscience. It's a navigator, and it will 100% always tell you if you're going to do the right thing or the wrong. Like you rightly said, then what you pick is on you. You know, whether you listen to the bad monkey on your other shoulder is your choice. But about
Exactly.
animals, Kartik, tell us about your involvement with PETA.
Look, PETA happened because I've been a vegetarian all my life.
Right.
I've been a vegetarian all my life, and PETA has different branches, and I'm part of the vegetarian branch. Look, it's a tough one, JJ. I don't know whether you eat non-veg or not, but it's a tough one to get people to become vegetarians. And I don't know, possibly this coronavirus, is it going to change that amongst people, because people have realized that look, it came. And again, you look at it, the number of viruses which have happened right through are all because of
Yeah.
a meat eating diet. Nobody has said that I ate cauliflower and bindi and I had a virus. You might have an upset tummy, but you don't have a virus. So hopefully people do realize that, rather than see, again, one thing which you realize over a period of time is that this always affects you. Whether you ingest it, it affects you, or whatever comes out of it affects you. So people need to realize that this is not right, because at the end of the day, we are killing animals. We can talk till the cows come home that, oh, we need to do this, eco-friendly cars, fuel guzzlers, and all that. The biggest problem is lifestyle. The biggest problem is that because it suits our palate, because we are used to eating different flavors and different types of meat, and we are justifying it, people need to understand that, firstly, health-wise, it's not right.
Mhm.
You are taking more time to ingest it, and God has given us dentures depending on the food we're supposed to eat. Cows don't go and bite into fishes, and they go and eat plants because of their dentures. So similarly, I can't expect a tiger to come and have carrots and tomato and all that. So it's got those kind of dentures because it's supposed to be a carnivore. So that is why we have been segregated into all those things. So we can call ourselves omnivore, and many people tell me, yeah, because this teeth is for whatever, incisors. What are they called? Incisors or whatever. So that is for meat. I keep telling them, look, that's for fruits and vegetables. So hopefully, people do realize that more than palate, it's for their health.
Mhm.
If they can control that and make sure. And I think this coronavirus has got a silver lining as well. The lifestyles which people might have to look at, their own lifestyles and the way they lead it. Hopefully that happens. But from my point of view, being a vegetarian, so I've been one of the ambassadors for PETA that way.
Nice. Kartik, my final question is actually one I will be asking all my guests. You've already answered one of them as to how this lockdown has affected you positively, because you said, I mean, your gratefulness for being stuck in the comforts of your home, that you rarely have the opportunity to do.
I will always say confined to my country, not
Confined.
stuck.
Yeah.
Not stuck. But stuck is a negative word. Stuck is like, oh shit, I'm trapped. No,
Interesting. Yeah.
confined.
Confined to the
I am in the
comfort.
confines. Yeah.
But I also want to know how it's affected you negatively, and what
How
you
is it affected me? I
negatively,
lost that.
how the COVID-19 lockdown has affected you negatively, and what changes you would like humanity to have once this is behind us.
Look, it has not affected me negatively, except for uh, the feelings of pain which you see outside. You don't want to see nobody. I know we're all going to die. That is the most hereditary thing, and every moment we are heading towards it. I understand that, but still, when you see so many people dying, that morbidity does affect you, because you don't want anything. You don't want anything bad happening to anyone on this planet. So that is one thing which affects me. Seeing corpses on the street in Ecuador with nobody to take care of them, and things like that do affect me. You don't want to see people suffering. But the big takeaway or big thing which I would want the world to do, lots of things, especially in India. For one, if people can start becoming vegetarians, I think the world will be a great place, because people always say, "Oh, how can it be?" and "What is it?" and the ecosystem takes care of itself. I think human beings don't need to worry about the food chain and all that. If we stick to eating, our world will be a better place. Your own body will be a better place, because you've got less to burn. The non-veg and the way it comes, you have to understand that even the livestock, even the chicken and the cattle and all of them are going through a lot of stress before they die. Hopefully that changes. But hopefully that changes. And also, um, I feel the way we travel, the way we lead our lifestyles. I don't know. Um, people are talking about this coming from your mouth and droplets and all. Imagine going into a nightclub, JJ, and people in loud music, people drinking and spitting, because to be heard you have to shout, and when you shout, obviously,
Yeah.
so imagine. I hope that changes as well. And again, the way we are uh, on the planet per se, the amount of travel we do and the kind of things do we need. Right now, I realized in these whatever 50, 60, 55 days, I am in two pajamas and three singlets. I had to change only for the sake of the show. Otherwise, that's all it is. Why do I need to accumulate so much? Why do I need to hanker for anything? Hopefully, people have a relook at that as well. And just, I feel, respect towards Mother Nature. I think that is the biggest takeaway for me. Once we respect that, as I said, the respect which you need to give to your own object, animate or inanimate, I think we have not done that to the planet which we live on. I think once that happens, I can imagine no flights flying. Can you imagine how good the ozone layer would be? Delhi. You used to look at leaves and say, "Oh Lord," it feels as if there is like 20 inches of dust on it. And you go to Europe and you see, oh, it feels as if they've all been dusted. They're all so clean. So the last 40 days, Delhi feels as if God has done the dusting.
Yeah.
The air is looking so pure, the sky is looking so pure, the leaves look as if they've been dusted. And this is summer. Summer means the wind is always going to blow, and you've got that hot wind loo blowing. But in spite of that, it looks absolutely like a picture. So I just hope, I'm not saying that we can get to it, because obviously everybody has to lead their life, but I think the balance which needs to be brought about, which we had completely squandered away, which we had completely gone berserk with, hopefully that change. I'm not saying don't go and make merry. I would love to sit with friends and have a chat, and I can sit all night long. But just to go overboard with anything, with your body or doing anything wrong, I think not required. Hopefully people realize that we can still live with less. As Gandhiji said, there is enough for everyone's need, not for everyone's greed. So hopefully we all realize that.
Great. Thanks, Karthik. Thank you so much for your time and for letting us in on so many multiple aspects of your life that make up who you are.
Nah,
I look
pleasure, JJ.
I look forward to that round of golf we've been talking about for many years. I don't know when it's going to be, but whenever we get a chance to.
Look, you're the one who travels to Delhi with your work, with 3BELOW and everything. We see your product at DLF Golf Club, but you don't come and play with us.
Next time I'm there, definitely. I don't know when it's going to be, but next time I'm there. Ladies
And
and
keep doing
gentlemen,
a good,
sorry?
keep doing a great job with
Thank
this,
you.
with everything. And hopefully, I am still waiting for you to come up with trousers which are world class.
Thank you. Thank you, Karthik. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Murali Kartik, former Indian cricketer, current golf fanatic, and ambassador for animal
Addict,
golf addict,
addict.
golf addict, ambassador for animal rights, showing us that he's not only pursuing being consistently below par on the course, but through his achievements on the cricket field and the causes that he's passionate about and his journey of constantly trying to be a better version of himself, he's already way above par off the course. Thank you and have a good day, Murli.
Thank you, JJ. Cheers.
Yes.